but I read this book, or I listened to this book on ebook. Wow. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we're about to get very, very nerdy with my April haul. So another month, another haul. We have many books this month, as usual. I've just come to accept that fact about myself. I have quite a few pre-orders that have come in throughout the month. This is also the month of mangas as well. I picked up quite a few mangas. So, let's just dive right into it. So the first one is one of the pre-orders that I talked about in like that video I did of like books I'm really, really excited about. And that is The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morris. This is a stunning book. It's got a beautiful cover. It's also got a very fun reflectiveness that is under the dust jacket. It's stunning. But this is by the author who wrote Slay a few years ago, but it follows our main character, Alex, who has this very specific special ability that when he touches an object or touches something, he kind of has this flash moment of like seeing the future of that object. For example, if he touches his car, he could see his car getting into an accident or seeing, you know, whatever the future for his car is. So through this special ability, he somehow touches something that kind of flashes for him and he sees his brother's death. And so this sounds like an adventure of trying to stop that from happening, or just something along those lines. This sounds great. It is a kind of, I don't even know if you would call this a fantasy. It gives me like contemporary vibes with something else that's fantastical, so maybe it's fantastic realism or something like that. I have no idea, but it sounds like it's going to be fun. It sounds like it's going to tackle some very tough subjects as well, so I'm excited to see everything this book is going to bring. The next one is also a pre-order that I talked about in that video of books that I'm super excited about that come out this year, as well as talked about it in my wrap-up, because I did actually end up reading this one this month, so make sure you go check out my thoughts of it. But that is To Love and to Loathe by Martha Waters. This one is a kind of companion sequel to Have and to Hoax, which I read a couple of months ago and just utterly loved. Didn't realize there was going to be a sequel until all of a sudden it like came across my feed one day and I was like, excuse me, I need that in my life. And everything about this is great. So Martha Waters is a very sarcastic writer. She likes to put our characters through the ringer, but in like the most fun way possible. The first book follows this married couple who has been in a fight for 4 years out of the 5 years they've been married over this really, really tiny argument they've had, and it's the two of them kind of out pranking each other, and it's their love story. This one follows the two best friends. So in this we follow Diana, who is a widow and has been a widow for quite a while, and Jeremy, who is a marquis, and so he is throwing this 2-week-long party in the country. I should tell you this is historical fiction. I don't know if you can tell that by like their outfits, but this definitely takes place in the past. But Jeremy is a rake. He sleeps around a lot. It's very well known that he sleeps around. And one of his past flings told him that his bedroom situation was not as great as he thought it was. And so he comes to Diana because he knows that Diana is going to be completely honest with him, and he makes kind of a wager with her. Not really wager, but like a bargain with her of like, will you help me out so I know how to be better, and also I can help you by you signaling to other men that you would like to take a lover. And so it's the two of them, and obviously it does not go to plan because they despise each other. So this is very much a hate to love kind of romance, but it's so much fun. And I love her sarcastic writing. It's just so great. So had to pick that one up when it came out as well. The first manga that I ended up picking up this month is Volume 1 of Dreaming Sun, which is by Ichigo Taganu. This is a manga series that I've actually seen Becca from Becca in the Books talk a lot about. She really, really loves this series, and there's just something about it that sounds kind of fun. So this follows our main character, Kamiko, whose mother has died, and she lives with her father, her stepmother, and their 6-month-old. And she feels very kind of left out. It seems that her father and stepmother don't really care about her. They're only obsessed with their child, and so she decides to kind of run away to a nearby park. She stumbles across this man who says that he actually does have a place for her to stay, and she can stay there on 3 conditions. 1, she has to tell him why she ran away. 2, she has to retrieve a key. And 3, she has to have a dream and fall in love. And I think that this apartment that she's living in also has other people there, and it sounds like shenanigans, but I'm not quite sure what I'm getting in for. But I thought I would give the first volume a try. I've been collecting a lot of first volumes of mangas because I'm really trying to find some that are just jiving with me, so I didn't want to purchase too many, but this just sounds like fun, so I'm gonna give it a try. The next one is another first volume, and that is the first volume of Happy Marriage by Maka Injoji. This is one that I saw on Madison May from Princess of Paperback on YouTube. She is a huge, huge manga reader, and she did a lot of mangas if you like this specific trope. And so I thought I would give some of them a try. There's a couple more on this list that I've picked up from her. So I don't know a whole lot about this. The back is not as descriptive as I would like it to be, and I'm trying to remember what Madison May said, but it is an arranged marriage between our main 2 characters. One is our female main character does it because her father wants to, and the male character is the president of a company, and he does it because it's a request of his grandfather. And so they end up living together, and she thinks it's not binding, but he is very much believes that it's a binding contract kind of thing. So, like, can they actually work out? I love fake dating, arranged marriage, that kind of being forced into a situation like this, and then the feelings that emerge because of that. So I'm willing to give this one a try. It's got a trope I love, so I expect great things from it. So I picked up the first volume of this one. So another one that I saw because of Madison May is another kind of like, seems like fake dating, and it's this one, which I could never seem to pronounce. Wataku? And it's written by Fujita. So our main female character here is what they call an otaku, which I believe is like a video gamer, and every boyfriend that she's ever had that has found out that she is this thing breaks up with her the minute they find out. So she doesn't really believe in love. And so she ends up working with this man here who I believe is a childhood friend, and he knows this about her and doesn't run away, and just kind of like, to me it sounds like a dare, where it's like, I dare you to date me, and so they actually kind of like start dating as like an experiment maybe, and it goes well. I don't know, it's supposed to be super cute, but I don't know what I'm getting into. But it sounds fun, so I'm going to give it a try. Taking a break from the mangas for a second, I have a middle grade that I ended up picking up, and that is Unbound by Aisha Saeed. This is the first book that I read in April, so I definitely talked about this in my wrap-up if you want to go check my thoughts about this. But I read this for the Homebody Book Club. It was a very, very quick book. My best friend Lauren had read it and loved it, so I was really curious to see kind of what the hype was around this book. I've also never read anything by Aisha Saeed, and I know that she has written a book with Becky Albertalli that I really want to read, but I wanted to see kind of like what she was like as a writer before I went into that book, and this is just incredible. So this follows our main character, Amal, whose dream, all she wants to be in life is a teacher. She loves school, she loves reading, it's like her favorite thing. Based on some of the situations that she gets in this book, she ends up being forced to be a servant for the village's kind of like ruling family, and it's her experience there. There's a lot to this book. This cover is just absolutely stunning. I listened to this on audiobook, and the minute I finished it, I knew I needed my own copy because it was so good, so I did pick it up. It's fantastic. It's a super, super quick read. I love it. The next book I picked up is actually because of one of you lovely viewers put this in one of my, I don't even know what video it was, a recent video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need this, and then I immediately went out and I bought it. But that is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is the first in the Regency Fairy Tales books. I think there's 3 in this trilogy. I only picked up the first one, but it basically is told to me as a, if you like Jane Austen, you will like this because it's Regency England with fairies. Doesn't that just sound incredible? I'm so excited. So I don't really know a whole lot beyond that. There's a lot more in this It says Pride and Prejudice meets Howl's Moving Castle. I'm very excited. So y'all knew I needed to get this on my list immediately, and then I did found it online, and I bought it. Do I know when I'm gonna get to this? No idea. It feels like a self-published book, which is great. I love those. If it's compared to Pride and Prejudice or anything Jane Austen, are we surprised? The next one is another middle grader that I picked up, and that is the last in the School for Good and Evil series by Someone Chainani, One True King. The paperback finally came out in April. Needed to get my hands on it, so I finally have. I've talked about the series many, many times on this channel. It's one of my favorites, but this is the last in the series. It's the 6th one. I can't really tell you anything about this book because it's the last in the series, but the idea of this is that it follows our two main characters, Agatha and Sophie, who are from this little village in the woods, and every year someone is taken from their village. 2 kids are taken from their village. The kind of mythology, legend surrounding that is that they go to this school for good and evil. One is taken for the school for good, and one is taken for the school for evil. And so these 2 best friends get taken in the first book, and they're like, oh, I'm for sure going to this specific school, and then they end up going to the other one that they're not expecting. And that is just the bare minimum of what this series is about. That's just kind of what starts it off, but this really kind of twists what you think about fairy tales and what makes good and evil. But I've been collecting the paperbacks. This one finally came out in paperback, so I picked it up. The next one is a super silly one that I just picked up because it's Jane Austen. And that is this Who is Jade Austen book by Sarah Fabini. I don't know if you guys ever had these when you were growing up, but it was the like who is famous people, and so this one's just about Jane Austen's life. It's made for young kids, but it's Jane Austen, and it was like $2, so I picked it up. Another one that I picked up is actually this collection of Irish fairy and folk tales by James Stephens. I don't really know a whole lot about Irish folk tales. That is a part of the world that, like, the mythology. I really don't know much beyond, like, Greek mythology, to be honest, but Irish mythology just sounds super interesting to me. I think Irish and, like, Gaelic and things like that part of the world is fascinating, and I know almost nothing about it. And so, yeah, I think this is just a collection of stories. I'm not entirely sure. They are chaptered, so I'm a little curious about that. Oh, because there's individual stories, and each story is chaptered. So there are 10 stories in this book, and I think it's just this guy is retelling them. But like I said, I don't know anything about Irish folktales, so I'm going to give it a try. A couple more mangas to finish out the amount of mangas I picked up this month. The next one I picked up is just ridiculous. I don't know why I did it. I'm very curious about it, but the name is ridiculous. And that is this one, which is titled, If It's For My Daughter, I'd Even Defeat a Demon Lord. I don't know, it sounded fun. But it follows this guy named Dale who comes across a little demon girl in the forest, and he takes her in. And I think he ends up, like, kind of falling in love with her a little bit as like, his kid, and wants to protect her. It sounds really silly, but I don't have a lot of kind of, like, fantasy mangas, so I wanted to give it a try and see if, like, maybe the fantasy genre might be a little more my thing, because some contemporaries aren't working for me, but it might just be a little out there. Who knows? Sounds fun. I'm gonna give it a try. The last manga I picked up this month is this one, which is How to Treat Magical Beasts, Mine and Master's Medical Journal. And this is by Kazuya. This just sounds like it's a girl who is taking care of magical creatures, which sounds great. So we are also going to give this one a try. She's just trying to save some magical creatures, helping them live. I think they're dying out, maybe? So can she help these creatures of legend survive in the world that is leaving them behind? Sounds great. The next one I picked up is a stunning, just absolutely stunning book. And I picked it up because of the Homebody Book Club. I'll leave all the information down below if you're curious about that. But this one sounded really, really fun, and that is Mermaid Moon by Suzanne Kokol. This is just a stunning book. It's a heavy book, it's a chunk of a book, but under the gist jacket are these gorgeous illustrations on the hardcover, and that's why I wanted this book. This book could have absolutely sucked and I would have loved it. It wasn't the best book I've ever read because I did end up reading this for last month, so again, check out my wrap-up if you want to know my thoughts. But it was really great. It's a pretty book. But this basically follows our main character, Sana, who is a mermaid, and on her day of birth, her mother is human, her father is a mermaid, and when she was born, this witch kind of like cast this spell on everybody to completely forget this woman. So she knows that her mother is human. She knows that she has a mother. She knows who her father is. She grew up as a mermaid. She has a tail and everything. But she can't remember her mother. Her dad can't remember this woman that he's fallen in love with. No one in their kind of little group of mer people remembers. They all know that there was someone. They all know this someone was human, but they don't know anything about her. And so this book follows her as she goes on land to try to kind of figure out who her mom is, but she's also been the apprentice of the witch who cast the spell, and the witch is given her a task. So she's going to land to find her mom, but there's also this task she has to do, and this is her story. Stunning. This book is stunning. The book story itself, it's stunning writing, it's an okay story, but the physical book, gorgeous. The last 3 books I have to talk about are all pre-orders that came in. So the first one is Completely the Fault. Completely the Fault of Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction, and that is Sister Song by Lucy Holland. This cover, ooh, look at that shine. This is a retelling or reimagining of a folk song. I think it's called The Three Sisters. No, The Two Sisters. It's a British folk ballad. This just sounds really cool. It's like it follows these 3 siblings in this Roman town, I think, and one of them is trans, which is what grabbed my attention first. The fact that like this is such a historically set story, and the fact that one of our characters is trans I immediately wanted to know what this book was about. So I mostly picked it up for that. I know it's very fantastical. I think there's a witch or a magician that kind of gets in the way, and these siblings kind of fall apart, but it sounds great. I need to pick this up because mythology, check. Trans character, check. Historically set, check. Everything about this book is great. The next one is another book that I can blame another booktuber for, and this one is Becca from Becca and the Books, and that is Malice by Heather Walter. It's Once Upon a Time There Was a Villain. So this is a reimagining of Sleeping Beauty, but from the villain's point of view. However, it takes a very twist on it, where our main character is a very specific type of kind of magician, I guess is what you would call it. She's called a Dark Grace. She's abhorred and feared for the mysterious dark magic that runs through her veins, and kind of an ancestor of hers, another Dark Grace, has cursed Aurora's family so that if they don't have true love's kiss by, I think, their 21st birthday, they will die. And so Aurora has 1 year left, and our main character, I don't even know what her name is. Let's find out. Our main character's name is Alice. So Alice that's funny, Malice. I wonder if that's the reason it's called that. So our main character, Alice, kind of helps Aurora as she's trying to find a different way. She doesn't actually think she's going to find her one true love by her birthday. She needs another way to stop this curse, and so Alice helps her out, but they fall for each other. Oh! I'm excited. This is stunning. It's a UK cover because I do not like the US cover. I'll plop it here. I don't know what it is. I just feel like this UK cover better. So I picked that one up. This is a chunk of a book. Like I could kill someone with this book. But I'm very excited about it. The minute she got the arc and started talking about it, I was like, I need that in my life. So I did. I got it. And the very last book that I picked up in the month of April is my last pre-order that I did, and that is Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. It's her latest book that she's written by herself that came out this month. And I am so excited. I love Becky Albertalli. Her books are books that I can get through in one sitting. They're super quick to get through, and I'm very excited about this one. So it follows the 2 best friends, Kate and Anderson, who just love being in theater, they love being best friends, they love talking about boys together, and then they both end up falling for the same guy. It sounds like it's going to be all about theater, Kate and Waiting. It sounds, which is my thing, I love theater, so I'm very excited about the setting of this book, but honestly, anything Becky Albertalli writes, I will immediately get because I love her stuff. So those are all the books that I ended up picking up in April. Like I said, it was a pre-order and manga heavy month. But I need to wrap this video up before my light goes away. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you've read any of the books that I mentioned. If you're as excited about some of these pre-orders as I am, let me know. I need someone else to like get me to read them because I'm so excited. But if you liked this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media as well as other fun bookish links down there, so don't forget to go check all of those out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!